Another day, another game of football. There was Champions League, but we're gonna jump into the Premier League first, where we are on game week 32, where it seems like a long way ago when we were on game week 12, when we started 1v1. And 20 games later, you are at 79, and I was at 78 starting last week. But of all these stories, we can start with the biggest story of the weekend. I mean, Arsenal losing at home to Bournemouth was crazy. I mean, no one saw that coming. I mean, normal Arsenal, honestly, if you look through the years, Aston Villa, was it last year? Brighton the previous year, Sunderland was it Southampton? Southampton also sometime. Just about April time, Arsenal always has to lose to one of these so-called teams, and it turned out to be Bournemouth this time. I mean, did you see that coming? Of course, no one saw that coming, but in a way, like, I don't know what you think about that game.
No, the result was a surprise. I did not see Arsenal losing that game. But I would not have been surprised by a draw either. Although I went for Arsenal on a on our last session before this game, I was talking about beginning to get concerned about Arsenal's form in terms of killing off teams. And I thought that Arsenal were going to win, but it will be one of those nervy wins because they have been like leaving teams alive. Sometimes when you play versus somebody, you can look at them and you know that they are afraid. They are trying to sit back off and try to wait on you. And in many of the games that Arsenal has won recently, sometimes you felt that like the teams have been given some confidence to come at Arsenal. It happened with Brighton, with Everton, with Southampton, Man City, Wolves. Uh, yeah, you win not because you win sometimes because you have better players. So I think Bournemouth had that window to come at Arsenal, that confidence, and finally cost them. But I did not see Arsenal losing this because at this stretch of the season, if you look at the games ahead, there's Man City coming. I didn't see how Arsenal were going to let the 3 points slide away to Bournemouth this match week. So that was a shocker for me.
Yeah, only the second loss of the season, and Bournemouth didn't look like they got into fifth gear, really. They looked like they played in the third or fourth gear. There was just so many spaces in the mid. I don't know if it is mental fatigue. I don't understand why they brought someone like Nogard and he doesn't get any rotation. I thought he would be rotating at Zubimendi there because Zubimendi is still new in the league, but they look more mentally fatigued, and it's, I don't know. As you say, like, onto another story that we'll go on to about United. United lost, but you can see the team playing. You get like on the front foot. And I miss that about Arsenal. We don't have someone to relieve pressure. We don't have we don't play on the front foot anymore. The corners and set pieces are not working anymore. I mean, they let people get into their head and just keep at it. This is just bad if you're good at corners and win the league. That's it. That's it. You stop scoring from the set pieces. You start conceding from the set pieces. Not, yeah, it's not looking good, but I don't know. I didn't really. I really. I wish we played that game and then lost. Who cares, right? You still have the cushion, but you played, but you went safe and you lost. The optics are not good at all, and I don't want to bash the team. I'm kind of tired of that, but the optics are not good when you sit back at home and then you end up losing the game. That
True.
doesn't look like the best team in the country right there.
Yeah, and I also have an issue, I think, with way Arsenal have spent money in recent years because you might find maybe a defensive position with three good defenders. But I don't really think that if Arsenal was going to play tomorrow, like even if you are in a bad spot, although Haaland is not scoring, but you can say if Man City is in a bad spot, Haaland can pull out something. Even for United, you can talk about maybe Bruno and stuff like that. But if you look at the Arsenal front line, you have to give them credit for being where they are because you cannot look at a game tomorrow and say if it gets tough, maybe Gyökeres is going to get us out of this one. That's not the profile he carries. And Saka is not the same person anymore, and he's not even available right now. The same for Harvard. So it was good going for Gyökeres last summer. That was a solid move. But I don't really think that when Arsenal bought Madueke, they thought they were buying a world beater who will come on and change games. I think it was just to rest Saka. So I feel like Arsenal should have put more money on the attacking front, have more options up front there, because the season has been on defense getting clean sheets and at the same time the defense getting goals, because Arsenal is struggling at a point where defenders are not scoring. When Gabriel was in his best goal scoring form, and same for Yuri and Timber, Arsenal were winning games, and now Timber is not available and Gabriel is not enjoying that form. And the options up front are not just very good. So I think that's an area that has given Arsenal difficulties this season.
Yeah, and that's why I was not falling for the gaslighting. People have been gaslighting us all season. Arsenal as the best squad. Look at the team. There is no such thing as that. I look at Liverpool forward line. It's more than Arsenal, even by numbers. And City, even by numbers. Maybe United, they have about the same number of forwards. But all these other teams, they have more forwards and more quality forwards than Arsenal. This is just a fact. So when people have been saying Arsenal, and you look at even, I was looking at even Europe today, you look at a team like Atletico Madrid that has gone through to the semis. They spent in January on a forward, Man City, they spent in January on a forward. People that did not spend on forwards are struggling. Look at Chelsea, look at Liverpool. You don't spend on you will struggle. But if you want to go for those things, you have to keep being adaptive. You cannot keep banking on the 60M you dropped on Gyökeres in August. If it's not working by December, it's not working. You just have to strengthen. And I think that's where Arsenal fell short. Someone like Madueke, who were banking on Saka to be playing, Saka was playing every game, and he was not giving 100%, yes, but if we could play 75 minutes heading forward, then we see then Madueke can be finishing off the games. Or if it's a comfortable game, 70. That's not the case. It did not turn out to be the case. And that was poor miscalculation. Left wing, that's right wing. Left wing. I always cried. Trossard was the renewal. Trossard is not the player you want to keep if you're going to win. It's not like a title winning forward that has the experience that you have to keep and add money. No. Martinelli is not either. So, and we all know what Arsenal has had issues with striker. So, I don't know what they were thinking heading forward. Our marquee player was Merino. And if we did not realize that and replace him in January, then they are not very smart people right there, right now, because the person that was unlocking it at the hard time was Merino. It was a makeshift, but that was him. It's like Man City losing someone like Nico O'Reilly, and they're like, oh, O'Reilly was just a fringe player. No, he's the main player right now. And that's the same position as Merino. He was the main player. I don't know what's going to happen heading forward, but I'm optimistic about tomorrow, though. And the weekend, I don't think we'll get beaten, but we're looking very shaky as it stands.
Yeah, that is true. You really have to avoid a loss on the weekend, and I think that is something that Arsenal can do. Well, I don't know if it can make them a little bit too comfortable and say we are avoiding a loss here, because Arsenal can do the two results: a win and a draw. Man City must get one result, which is a win. So if Arsenal are smart enough, they shift that pressure back to Man City, because Man City have already done their part in shifting the pressure to Arsenal by calling them the best team in the country and beaten in Europe and all that. So they are trying to put the honors on Arsenal to come out, and Arsenal have to be very careful about that one, because if Arsenal do not lose that game, then they are firmly in control again. And if Man City wins that game, then it becomes a 50-50. And I don't really think that next weekend is the last time points are dropped. So we still have to wait and see how it goes on from there, because avoid a loss and then see out the rest of your games, because I always knew that points were going to be dropped. Man City started with West Ham and then they followed with Nottingham. So they blinked first, and then Arsenal has also blinked. So we're back again to to the drawing board, and that although this match week was a very important match week in the title race, it can't beat next match week.
That's true. It cannot beat next match because Man City went to Chelsea and handed them 3-0. But who did not see that coming, including Chelsea players and fans and the owner? Everybody saw that coming. Come on.
True.
All the noise in the dressing room, all the pettiness, you're focusing your energy on the wrong things. All players say all the time they want to leave clubs. Mbappe said it with PSG all the time. Mateta, Rodri, Kukuna, everybody. Why are you dropping Enzo? And now you look so weak against Man City that does not have a midfield. Let's just say the truth. If a good midfield faces Man City, they're in trouble because they have Bernardo Silva and Rodri. So if Enzo and Caicedo and Reece James is not available while there, would have been a different game. But they chose to give Man City the points, and I think even Chelsea fans were happy about that.
Yeah, another example on the list you've just mentioned is a Bayern Munich player called Carl, somebody 17-year-old who just clear that I want to play for Real Madrid, and yeah, and he's still being played. But I think a manager should not take a decision that shoots his own team in the foot, because the first protector of the team is the manager. And in that case, I think Rosinia put Chelsea in a disadvantaged position. First of all, by the noise itself, because he could have controlled the amount of noise that came out of it. He could have said, I'll talk to Enzo. Or he could have said, maybe he just loves the city and life continues, and handle it on the background. But he first of all generated the noise about the whole issue. And then you drop one of your important players. Of course, that guy was captain, you know. So you drop that captain in a game where you are not supposed to drop points, because you're chasing fifth spot. You are there competing Liverpool and United and Aston Villa, and then you're meeting to have a home tie. You cannot afford to do what he did. So if he doesn't go, I don't trust Chelsea anymore.
So with those 3 goals that Chelsea let in, they didn't need to let in 3. They could just have let in 1 and given them 3 points. But they opted to let in 3. And with those 3 goals, Man City have scored more goals than Arsenal officially. They are 63, Arsenal 62. But if you hear people talk, you might think Arsenal are not scoring goals. That aside, there was another story that happened Monday, though. Man United against Leeds, 2 neighboring counties, Lancaster and Yorkshire, is it?
Yeah.
And Leeds had a historic night, making their manager do a knee slide at Old Trafford. That's crazy scene.
It's a result that shocked me because I don't want to say it shocked me. It's a result that I was not expecting, but it doesn't shock me because if you are not a United fan, then you have probably seen this coming. Because I've talked before how after City and Arsenal game, United has been grinding, leaving teams in. Our opponents have not been afraid of us. On all our wins, we have always been defending and making these difficult stops. And then you look at the display we had versus Newcastle, although they were 10 man, but even before that, we were just never interested in the game. And then, of course, we did well against Aston Villa, and we were unlucky maybe versus Bournemouth. But then when you look at this game, you just see the typical Manchester United have been talking about for a long time, lack of interest. Like you could clearly see that Leeds players were more interested in this than United in the first half. I'll give United credit for the second half, but you look at the first half, you don't just play one half in football. Sometimes a good second half cannot undo the damage in the first half. So you cannot choose when you're going to play. And there was just lack of interest. We were being outrun. We were being outplayed in all aspects. The Leeds have the first goal. They want the second more. They have the second. They want the third more. Lisandro has to make a clearance on the goal line. I mean, halftime we are 2 goals down. And it feels like a good result for Manchester United at Old Trafford. That cannot just happen. And these are the things that you look at and makes me say that sometimes we just need quality, because we've seen this with so many managers. It has always been that this manager is not doing it. This one is not doing it. Carrick has been a darling of the team, and we just saw the team not running. Like, literally, they were just not running. Uninterested. But then we had a good second half. We turned up well, and of course there was that controversial decision.
What do you think about it? Do you think it was a red card?
No, it cannot be a red card. I think the only it's split divisions, but the only way that you see that as a red card maybe is if that decision made you happy, not because it's the best in terms of rules. Because if Calvin Lewin has advantage of the ball, then it has to be a red card from Lisandro Martinez because there is no way you're going to get the ball. But then if it's a 50-50, if it's a 50-50, then you have to look at it differently because even to begin with, Calvin Lewin has his hand on Lisandro's neck. And at that point, you have to clutch on something or fall to the ground. It's just a natural reaction that if you are in air and somebody pushes you, you must want to reach out on something to support yourself. And that's a very natural move in football, which you cannot really call as a violent conduct. So I just don't understand how that was worth a send off.
Did you see that his hair was a bit distorted and Lisandro, he didn't pull it all the way, but his hand was on the ponytail?
Yeah, I saw that part, but that's why I'm saying that it's a natural reaction for Lisandro to reach out for support. And in that moment, touching somebody's hair, it's like I'm going to call on examples. If you're falling down and you handle the ball, it's clear that you touch the ball. Everybody sees that your hand touched the ball, but it's going to be judged as a natural move. So there's no way this one is not a natural move from Lisandro. If your head is standing like this and you have that, I don't know the name they called it, it's automatically going to come on your back. So it's easy to grab it. And at the moment Lisandro realizes it, he lets it go. So it's not an intentional move. It's not an unnatural move. And the player lets go immediately. He realizes that he's holding the player's, the opponent's hair. And also you have to consider that it was a 50 challenge.
To that point where you say he realized he was holding the opponent's hair, you don't see how the referee can interpret that as pulling hair?
The referee only interprets that if Calvin Lewin,
With or without the ball, just that action of pulling hair. You don't think the referee would have interpreted it that way?
that action, you don't interpret it independently. That's what I'm saying. Unless if you choose to look at that action independently and ignore the fact that it was a 50-50 challenge for the ball, because those things are tied. Once you isolate them, then it appears like a red card.
It
But that
don't
was the
matter.
mistake.
Romero got a red card when he was going for a challenge with Casemiro. That don't matter. He stepped on him, didn't he? Tottenham Manu. Because they were trying to play the ball, they were going for the ball. That doesn't matter. If you step on somebody, you make a contact like that, and the referee gets the chance to make a decision. He gave the ref a decision to make. And the ref interpreted it that way. You see?
And the ref made the wrong decision because if you step on somebody, back to the case of Casemiro versus Romero, the referee has to ask himself if Casemiro was going to get the ball before Romero. Anytime you are in a tussle, but the ref judges that one person was clear to get the ball, then that one becomes a red card because you are automatically judged not to have in control of the ball, so that is using illegal means to gain unfair advantage. But that was not the case between Lisandro and Calvin Lewin.
Well, what I'm saying is he gave the referee a decision to make. And if the referee interprets it, runs to the monitor and views and interprets it as a hair tag, because they're not going to show a whole clip of play. They'll just show that part. And that's the part they will reverse with angles. And it shows that this guy's hair gets out. And how does it get out? Not on its own. It's because of this hand that was here. And just by that visual, the referee will be like, I'm just trying to think maybe that's how it went, because that's how it eventually came out.
I agree. I agree that that's probably how it went, and that's why I have an issue with isolating the whole thing and focusing on one action. But let's say he gave the referee a decision, the referee still has to make a good decision. Still in the same game, if one of the reasons why people complain is also a lack of consistency, because if you look at the first goal, then it also has to be checked. because it still involves the same Calvin Lewin. He gets Lenny Yoro on the head.
Yeah, Lenny Yoro, it smacks him then.
And it disadvantages Lenny Yoro, and you see the referee does not check that one, but they still come to check on the other one, which still is unfair because Lewin gave a referee a decision to make, and the referee did not make it. But even the one for Lisandro, there are two actions involved here. Number one, Calvin Lewin pushes Lisandro on the neck. Then Lisandro responds. But you see, they look at the response. They look at the response, not the fact that Lisandro was being pushed on his neck down.
Yeah, I think if Lisandro grabbed his shirt in response, they would not have given him a red card. It's just that by bad luck, it was the head. If it was N'Golo Kante or somebody bald, it would have been a different story. Like Saka had short hair. They grabbed his collar and pulled him back at the Euros.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And you look at Saka's case, that guy did not have any chance of getting the ball. But also, I also think United are bitter because this is our second game versus Bournemouth. You know, when Maguire's incident is given as a penalty, and then the referee chose not to even go and check the other one on Amad Diallo. It's even worth checking. You can go to the monitor and deny your decision. They decided not to check that one, and then we have the game that follows, and it also goes this way. I'm not really trying to put the blame for this loss on this game because we just had a terrible first half. But I've seen teams come back from 2 goals down. So I'm just thinking that that's a
moments change
disadvantage.
games, and that moment changed the game. Even though United were behind, they looked like they were pushing, and that moment definitely changed the game. But on to another moment in the Premier League. Spurs are onto their fourth coach of the season. The results keep being the same. I think it's done now. The 6-pointer of Leeds and West Ham, and them losing to Sunderland. I think that solidified their place down there. I don't think they're coming out again.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot. The only reason I'm going to give them a benefit of doubt is because the difference between them and West Ham is one game. If West Ham collect an L and Spurs collect a W, the conversation changes, albeit for a short time. So I'm not about to say that Deserbi is not going to win a game, because there are 6 games and I cannot comfortably say they're not going to win a game. Although it beats logic that they lost this match week, because you're not supposed to do that. But if they pick a win and West Ham pick an L in maybe the coming match week or something of that sort, then it shifts again, and you don't know what that can do to the team. But those are way too many ifs, because the things just don't look right for them at this moment. And West Ham seem to be even in better form and better fighting spirit, and the same for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, the momentum, you can just see Spurs were 15th, then 16th, then 17th for some time, and now 18th. And yeah, it's either Nottingham, Leeds, or West Ham. You're choosing West Ham. I think Spurs are in trouble just because they've been almost preparing mentally. Because for you to keep firing coaches, it means you're in panic mode. If you really believe that, because technically Spurs, and we've seen this more than once, Spurs fired a coach and Ryan Mason finished the season. There was no ever point there was panic for relegation or even not qualifying for Europe during those days. And now they keep firing, and Deserbi is the third highest paid coach in the league.
Yeah, man, that's desperate.
So that's desperation.
That's desperation. And
I think they'll go down.
I had doubts about that move from Deserbi, because Manchester United approached Deserbi when we wanted to fire Eric Ten Hag. After we talked to Tuchel, and Tuchel was not available, and we talked to Deserbi, and Deserbi said that Man United was not a serious project. So I'm just trying to imagine how Man United was not a serious project, and he picked Spurs. And it can only mean that it's the check, because it's the check, and that automatically makes me feel like it's a bad acquisition. Yeah. Because you have a good manager for the wrong reason. Yeah. And the way he keeps talking about the players, I want to help them.
This guy signed a 5-year contract. How are you talking about them and they? You are part of this.
He's not part of the team anymore.
It sounds like he's not part of the team. But yeah, they're in trouble. I think, yeah, they're in trouble. But other than that, Nottingham, Villa, I mean, that was really the result. You got that one. They went for a draw because there was no one losing there. Come to think of it.
That was the
I
most
picked
favorable
Villa, but there was no one losing there.
outcome. Okay. No, but you put it. None of those teams could afford to lose that game.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the mentality I wanted United to have. You don't lose this one. But
Yeah.
but those two teams locked in. Nobody loses it. 1 point.
Where I got lucky was Palace, Newcastle. Newcastle are in trouble, don't you think?
Yeah. They are. I had a draw, and I was thinking about going Newcastle, and then you reminded me how Palace have always struggled after Europe, and and Newcastle had not played. I just didn't see a way that Palace were getting
We're
this.
going to win. Yeah.
I just didn't see it coming. So I think that one that's a bad performance on from Newcastle, and I don't know if it's just a squad issue or Eddie Howe is just has been found out.
Or maybe you were just not lucky because Palace scored a last minute penalty, though. It's 94 minutes.
No, I felt that I felt hardly done by that one. I
I
felt
was
hardly
like,
done by
oh my
that.
God, I got one back.
I had already counted it. I felt hardly done by that.
That song, the momentum, and at least put us on the same spot because we both picked City, we both picked United. And then Palace, I got that one, and you got the Villa one. And then Liverpool, Fulham. You failed that one. You put an X, and I gave Liverpool. I mean, that was just like a lucky game, in my opinion. The momentum was just up. Gomorrah played. Fulham looked like they'd been off for a long time, and they look like guys that have already qualified, and they're just not under any pressure. But lucky Liverpool for that. But Brighton, Burnley, I put a draw, but you put Brighton and they won. Makes sense because guess what? They're just 3 points behind. No, 2 points behind world champions Chelsea. Yeah. Chelsea sit at 48 points, Brentford 47, Everton 47, Brighton 46, Sunderland 46, and Bournemouth 45. So Chelsea are pretty much flirting with 10th position right now. If they lose the next two, they're in 10th position. It's that bad and it's that tight. I mean, this team was in the top four when Maresca left.
Man, at some point I doubted Maresca for a minute, and now I feel stupid.
Well, I doubted Maresca the first times, but he started picking momentum. He was like Ateta. He was learning on the job, getting used to his team, building his own team, celebrating with the team in the corner, things like those. And then you just drop and you bring a manager to manage. This is crazy. Yeah. They brought a pundit, exactly. This is a pundit they brought to the Chelsea dressing room. But I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But the weekend, so I got West Ham, I got Brentford, Everton. We both failed because I think they had a draw, and you picked Brentford, and I picked
That one
Everton.
that's another one I was hard done. Look at when Everton scored the goal.
Yeah, I saw that.
That one I was hard
At
done
least
by
you
that.
both failed.
That one I had counted. I was looking at it, I was like, okay, this weekend I'm eating good, man.
This is my weekend. I picked Brentford, then I crossed and picked Everton. I should have gone in the middle first before I
Yeah, I should have
crossed
stayed.
over to the other side.
Yeah, I should have stayed
Uh,
in between.
but I got West Ham, I got Liverpool, I got Palace, and I got City. That's pretty much it. You got City and Villa, West Ham, 4.
West
So
Ham,
with
yeah.
it, Yeah, you sit at 83 and I'm at 82. Yeah,
That's
that's
the
what's
title
up.
of this.
That's the title race right there. It's crazy. It's coming. I need to start racking up more points. When we started, man, we used to hit 6, 7, 8. It reached a point we used to get 1, 2. Well, we'll see. The league is hard. The league is hard.
It's hard. I think this survival. I think this time relegation battle started way long time ago.
Yeah.
Those teams have been influencing results big time.
Yeah. Who saw Man City drawing 2 games in a row, Arsenal losing, United losing at home, Tottenham not winning the whole year? It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening in the league.
Oh.
Haaland not scoring all year almost. It's crazy. It's crazy. Premier League is hard. But on to another harder competition, the Champions League. Ask Barcelona. I mean, I like how Barcelona play. I like Lamine Yamal. I like how crazy he gets on the ball, but they cannot win anything with that high line. Knockout competition? Never. Never, never. Not unless they have 2 Lamine Yamals, like Rafinha, Lamine, and somebody very little like Mbappe or Haaland right there in between. Otherwise, they're not winning games.
No, no. Anytime people are not scared to come at you, you are in trouble in these big competitions because that back line, like it's very hard, easy to play behind them because it's easy to break it on the counter attack because once the ball is kicked, the defenders are facing away and you're already running. So by the time they turn around, you have already beaten that offside trap. And you look at a game like this, man, they started well. They got the 2 goals back. They created chances, which unfortunately they did not finish. I agree with you. They need very good talent up there because on a good day, maybe they score 4 today and that one they conceded, they still let them go through. But then, if you don't have 3 Lamine Yamals up front, it means you are going to miss chances, and you will be caught on the counter. So I would have been like I was interested to see Arsenal Barcelona in the semis because I wanted to see how they play because Barcelona has a high line which would have allowed Arsenal to play the ball in behind and Gyökeres and Martinelli are fast runners. But at the same time, Barcelona gets to play the ball too much, and Arsenal can allow that too. So I was trying to see how that game was going to go. But we now have a rematch between Arsenal, or potentially have a rematch between Arsenal and Atletico. I'm saying potentially because I'm expecting Arsenal to win tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy that at first everybody knew Arsenal is going through, but there's just some doubt seeping through. But I think Arsenal will go through tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. But on the other side, I was looking at ESPN FC and the main caption they've captured, like the quote they usually use for the captions for Liverpool game. They're saying it wasn't that embarrassing. So you should have seen how they were bashing Arsenal at first. Arsenal are 1-0 up, going through. But Liverpool did not score at home. But since it was not as bad as the first one, they're not so badly off.
They get accommodated, huh?
They get accommodated. People can tolerate it. This guy is spent 300 M on forwards. They don't score at home. And no one comes at them.
They have not scored in the tie altogether. Nah, I
That's
think
around
that's
4-0. That's not even sporting level. Sporting 4-0.
yeah. I think that's biased banditry. That has to be biased banditry because you cannot lower the expectations for one team. Liverpool is the Premier League defending champion. How do you lower expectations for them like that? That they can be beaten 4-0 and you still say it's not embarrassing.
Exactly.
That
Because
has to
they
be
had a
embarrassing.
few chances at home. And they're like, it was 50-50 until Dembele scored. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here for the goal.
I mean, if we are if we are talk like that, then the first leg should have ended with 4-0 or 5-0. If you want to bring in that dimension, then let's give PSG their 5 goals from the first leg, and then give Liverpool the credit for the chances they created today.
Yeah. But I think I think overall speaking, Liverpool, they're also struggling and they're just lucky that Chelsea's on a worse spot. But
And United has dropped again in form.
well, Liverpool is not catching United. They are lucky in position 5 because I think Chelsea will start have to fighting with these other guys for Europa League spot. But
Uh,
Liverpool have at least they're secure with fifth position already because Chelsea are 4 points away from them. I mean, that's we all know what that means. We all know it's 2 games. I mean,
That's 2 games.
it's 2 games. Yeah, 2 games within 6. Liverpool dropped 2. Chelsea win 2 in the same. It's almost impossible. It's done. It's done. So that's
That's
he's
close.
lucky. He's lucky for that reason that Chelsea just decided to drop off this because it was Liverpool that were going out. Of those 3 teams at 3, 4, 5, it was Liverpool that were in the worst position until Chelsea decided to shoot themselves in the foot, bringing in Rosinha, who decides to shoot himself in the foot further by being just small politics in the dressing room. I mean, manage, respect the ball. Enzo Fernandez has I mean, chill out. You've just been here a few months. You want to make
Yeah,
all
man.
the highlights.
You cannot be saying something that the players go home and look at on social media and start laughing that our boss said we were respecting the ball. Like you cannot be you cannot be doing things like that.
You get thumped 8 by PSG. You want to take it out on a player. You see what
Who
Jason
scored in
Kandi
that
always
fixture?
says. Don't take it out on me, man. Don't take it out on me. He's taking it out on Enzo. We all know what the issue here. You got pumped 8-2, and the dressing room is starting to doubt you. So you decide to pick out the biggest guy and hammer his head to try and instill fear in the whole dressing. This guy, this tactics is not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Chelsea are cooked. Chelsea are cooked, and you can only talk about him seeing off the season, and that's it. They should be looking for a replacement right now, and I don't know who. But I don't trust Chelsea's decision making because, in terms of player quality, they have not been improving the team. In terms of management, they have not been improving the team because you started at Thomas Tuchel, and now you are at Liam Rosinier. You're not improving.
I think we did that video of the gradual decline. Tuchel, Pochettino, and then we went
They had
Potter,
Porter somewhere.
yeah, and then we came lower to Maresca,
Pochettino, Maresca.
yeah, yeah, and then down to now Rosinha. Amen. Even by profile, look at that. That's a downward going graph.
They are going to reward next. They are going to reward Lampard for bringing Coventry back up with a contract.
I saw Michael Essien talking about they miss Nicholas Jackson. Amen. I would miss Nicholas Jackson. He gave them 15 league goals. That's not easy. Yeah.
And if you miss Nicholas Jackson, man, you're in a difficult position.
We're in a difficult position, especially after spending 2 billion. And you miss Nicholas Jackson. You're in a bad position. But let's see. Let's see how the weekend goes. We'll discuss the weekend later. Tomorrow, Madrid meet Bayern. Arsenal meet Sporting. For the first time, I'm not watching Arsenal game again. Last time I watched both. I was gonna watch Madrid game tomorrow, and everybody's talking about how Bayern are strong. But this sounds like old news and cliche. But this is Madrid, though. This is Madrid in the Champions. It's just a 1 goal difference. They have Mbappe fit. They have Vini fit. I think anything is possible.
Everything is possible. I'm expecting a remontada. I mean, I understand why people give Bayern all the credit because Bayern have home advantage. That's one. Bayern have better form overall than Madrid. That's another factor. And company looks to be a better manager than Abeloa. So it makes sense why Bayern is seen as the favorite. But as a Madrista, I've seen these things. I mean, in one season we lost at PSG and overturned it. Then we went ahead and lost to Chelsea and overturned it, and then Man City overturned it. I don't know if it's the season that we had Liverpool in the final.
Yep.
So I've seen these things happen, and the thing about Madrid is there's too much individual talent that when they show up both offensively and defensively, you get a result. You can score anywhere in the Champions League. Bayern scored at the Bernabeu 2 goals. It doesn't mean Madrid cannot score at Allianz Arena 2 goals. Yeah, you can score anywhere. So I haven't given up on this one, and I'm really expecting Madrid to do something tomorrow because it's the only competition they are in right now. The only competition. It's the most important game of the season. I'll say that for them because this one sums up their title hopes for the season. You lose this game, it's done. So if there's any time that we have expected Mbappe, Vini to step up, Valverde to step up, Rudiger to do his thing, Bellingham, I know they have really missed Couture because if you look at the game in the first leg, you realize that maybe Couture maybe deals better with the Hurricane shot because he's stopped difficult goals than that one. And then you see on the other side, Noah made very important saves. So I feel like the big difference has also been the lack of Courtois in goal. But let's see how the game comes tomorrow.
Is Courtois playing tomorrow?
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
But that would make a difference. Yeah. Madrid only need 3 or 4 people to wake up. Like Barca today Atletico had a very good goalkeeper today, that's for sure. Yeah.
So,
And then up forward, they just needed to be like sharp and on their toes. And I think the same for Madrid. They just need to be a little solid at the back, and then Mbappe and Vini just need to be sharp. There are going to be chances. Yeah, there are going to be chances. I don't think Ta and Upamecano are like the solid of centre backs, but I think there are gonna be chances. And I might put my money on Madrid. But let's see how tomorrow goes. Arsenal Sporting, I think it's just gonna be another scrappy 1-0 stuff. Just easy, go through the next round and think about Man City. I don't know. Unless Sporting want to bring the game to us, but I think it will be another quiet European night in London.
it might, well, not just need to go through. I feel like the owners are on Sporting Lisbon to come out and attack, and they have nothing to lose because they're going out. And if you lose to Arsenal, you still get respect. So I don't really think that them being beaten tomorrow makes them feel bad in any way. So they'll just come out. And that might work in Arsenal's favor. I just feel like also Arsenal might want to be a little bit too cautious because having lost Bournemouth, you might just come in and say, you know what, we lost Bournemouth, we just need to qualify. Uh, and just be careful not to make a big mistake. So it might be, as you said, it might be a quiet game that still sees Arsenal win.
Yeah, it reduces the noise building up to the Man City game. Imagine you lose that game and you go out, and it'll just be Arsenal from Wednesday to Sunday. It'll just be Arsenal on the media. So, for the sake of quietness and just for their own sake, I mean, beat Sporting and go through and focus on other things. Bournemouth is gone. FA is gone. The League Cup is gone. So just let it go now. Now we just focus on other things. But yeah, let's see how that goes as we frog match into Matchweek 33. And I'll see you on Friday for that one. We'll see how we keep up on 82, 83 heading forward.
Tough.
Good stuff, man. Cheers.